I've had this hat for about 10 years and I realized there's a label in it that really annoys me. So I've just cut it out with a pair of scissors and it's loads more comfortable. So feel free to conclude A, your own life lessons, and B, that I'm an idiot. Hello, welcome to the video. I'm Adam. Thanks for making it through the cold open. We made it to 51 subscribers this week. Is that a big number? It doesn't sound like a big number. This is my weekly vlog where I talk about what's going on in my business as a coach. I talk about developing new products and things that are going on in my world generally. This week I had a major revelation about one of my products that I thought was really great. You'll remember last week, if you were watching, I asked for feedback from people. I outlined the importance of getting feedback over making changes to products. Well, now I have a bunch of feedback and I think I know what I need to change. So let's get into that. But before, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what's been going on in my week. This week, I've had loads of conversations with people, which has been just excellent. I've really enjoyed it. I've been talking to founders. I've been talking to entrepreneurs. I spoke to a couple of potential investors. I talked to my own coach. And yeah, I also had 3 of my own coaching clients. Always great to see what they're working on. Loads of energy. A little bit too much input this week. I'm feeling a bit frazzled. But hey, I'm also solo parenting this week. So I'm on my own. Sorry, not the whole week. I should say that. A couple of days. But it feels like a whole week already. And it's always fun. I get to spend a lot of time with my boy, but it means time's a little bit crunched. So this week's revelation was directly as a result of the feedback I've been asking for people about what's going on with the course. I mentioned last week that my course completion rates weren't good. A lot of people stalling in the 2nd and 3rd chapters. It seems that my hunch was right. The metrics aren't actually telling me correctly how many people are moving through the course. So that's fine. But a bunch of people came back to me and said, Adam, we would love it if you added video. We think it would make it more engaging and interesting. And that's really, really valuable feedback. I'm going to tell you why in a second, but before that, there was a direct link to something that I learned maybe 10 years ago, I think now, in a company called Storyful that I was working at, where I was the chief product officer. Storyful was a social verification news agency. So we took social media, we verified it, and we put it into a newswire, a little bit like the AP, just not quite as full on. So one time I was asking customers for feedback on the product, and a whole bunch of them said, we'd love to have video chat. We'd love to have a direct video connection to your journalist so we could ask them more questions about the social media that you verified. Now, this was exciting, but also very expensive. Like if you're building a custom video messaging app inside your own app, there's a lot of development there, even if you just integrate some third-party software and tools. So we were a bit nervous about doing it. So what we decided to do was put a little graphic in the top right corner of the product that had little circles in it, 5 little circles with the faces of our journalists, and it said, on duty. They weren't even the journalists that were working. We just picked 5 random faces and put it in the top corner. So when we looked 2 weeks later at the metrics, we found that people have been rage clicking on these circles, just constantly trying to click on different circles. So we went back to them and asked, okay, what is it exactly that you're trying to do? And they came back and they said, look, we're clicking on this because I thought I would be able to chat to that journalist. So already we'd validated this idea that, yeah, if we put something in the product, people want to communicate to the journalists. But still we weren't ready to build video messaging into the software. So we just built a very simple text chat. When you clicked that, you chatted to whoever happened to be on duty that day. And when we went back to everybody who had either rage clicked or given us the feedback about video, 99% of them were more than happy with that. So it turns out they didn't want to talk to specific journalists, and they definitely didn't need to video message them. So we saved ourselves 6 months, a year of development, and basically fulfilled 99% of the need. So there's a really valuable lesson there, a couple in fact. The first is prototyping and testing an idea first in the cheapest way possible, the classic MVP. That really can do a lot for you. And then the second thing, of course, is that people don't often communicate what they want in terms of needs, but they do in terms of features. So they ask for features, but they don't necessarily tell you what they actually need. In this case, what they needed was to connect with a journalist, any journalist. What they told us was that they wanted a video chat with a specific journalist. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, something very similar I think is happening with my product when people say, hey, we'd really like videos because it would make your course more engaging. Now, when I read between the lines and I dig deeper and I ask people more about this, I think what they're actually saying is, your course is boring. Your course is actually just not that interesting. And that's a real problem. So I went back to the courses myself and took a look, and they're right. I don't think I'd do this course. I didn't particularly enjoy the structure. The takeaways were a bit muddled. Now, it's fine. This is an MVP. I'm trying to test things. I wanted to put something out in the world that, would just let me know whether people were interested. They're signing up. They're moving a bit of the way through their course, but they're kind of hitting a bit of a barrier. So that tells me, okay, there's something here, but I need to go a bit further. So what does this mean for developing the product? Well, one of the things that resonated from a previous week was develop your legitimate weirdness. People seem to really like this phrase. What it means is essentially lean into your identity, lean into what makes you unique, and use this as the basis for whatever you're doing, communications, fundraising, building a business model. Your uniqueness is absolutely key to success in all of those areas. So why don't I build a course called Develop Your Legitimate Weirdness? That is way better than building a course around fundraising that's a bit dry and a bit technical. And to be honest, there's a bunch of free stuff that is kind of adjacent to it somewhere. I feel like my course is deeper in some ways. It has bits of unique perspective, but I'm not really leaning into my identity. So this week, next week, I'm going to start looking at those courses, how I can improve them, and how I can really make them authentically mine and super interesting, hopefully, for people in a way that offers something completely different. And right now the courses are free, but this means I might be able to move up into paid courses as well. So I'm going to work out how to do this experimentally, maybe write a couple of short ones, get a lot of testing done, and see where it goes. So those are my key lessons this week. I hope you're all really well. As I said, there are 50 subscribers. I'd love to get to 100, of course, why not? So please share this video, subscribe, like, all those things really help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.